Hey, buddy.
What's up, man?
Back again.
Yes,
Good.
we are.
Been on a weird little, on and off week.
Yeah?
Things going on.
As far back as I can remember.
It was Halloween last week, though.
Be a gangster.
As an adult, you don't remember such holidays like you do as a kid.
Yeah. I mean, is it still a holiday, though? You know, when you're an adult?
Because there are adults that treat it like a holiday.
You know, I mean, it's cool because, once you're an adult, a young adult, of course it's fun because you're like, whoa, everyone's dressing up pretty, very
Slutty.
pretty. Yeah.
I think that's the main thing is how sexual can you be?
Yeah.
I think guys just being as oiled up as they possibly can, but yeah, dude. I feel just all these things that you got stoked about
Oh, shit.
when you were younger because you got days off are now just reasons for people to get drunk during the weekday,
of
which you
course.
don't need.
And that's the American way, man. That's why we have so many holidays.
Yeah, that's what fucking people live for.
Of course. Anyways, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is the Pacific Experience Podcast. You are with us, and we are with you.
With you and inside you.
With you. You can check us out at packxpodcast.com.
Shoot us questions, things to talk about, even ideas, or you can shoot us some cool pictures that you guys draw, I guess. That's another thing, too.
No, don't send that.
Okay,
Shit's gay.
never mind.
Don't send that. I'm just kidding. I meant lame, not gay.
Yeah. You're in Washington State.
Yeah, you can check us out at Facebook at PackX Podcast, at Twitter, Pacific Experian 1.
Yeah, so we're on all the social media handles. The Instagrams, we're on there, at PackXPod. You know, we got the hottest hashtags and going to be posting the most Northwest photos. And, yeah, shirtless photos of me are soon to come up for sure. I'm trying to get on that game. We also have an email, too, if you want to.
He's been talking about it a lot.
Honestly,
serious.
I've been working really hard. I have not shaved my belly in God knows how long.
Anyways, oh God, dude, a lot of stuff has gone on. A lot of shit has happened, and of course the voting has happened. I don't want to talk about it though.
I guess don't then.
Let's not talk about it.
If you didn't vote, you're a bitch.
Yeah,
That's what we have to say.
that's what I will say. I proudly, it's funny, dude. I went in and dropped my ballots off at the office thing, and there was like 5 stickers left that said I voted, and I had 2 ballots, and I was dropping them off, and I was like, yeah, hi, and I was like, can I get a couple of the stickers? And she looked at me, dead serious, without a smile, and then cracked just the biggest smile. Was like, absolutely, this is the last year we're doing it. And I was like, last year you're doing the stickers or voting?
Yeah, the last year that you can ever vote ever again.
And that smile immediately dropped from her face, and I was like, just kidding. And I grabbed the 2 stickers, and then I walked away.
Nice. You just totally fucked her brain up.
Anyways, yeah. So go, thank you to those who voted, I guess. Go vote. What's the message? I don't know.
Well, yeah,
I got
if
a
you
message
didn't
now.
vote, you're just a lazy sack of shit, and you don't deserve anything.
Yeah, I guess.
Sounds bold to say, but yeah, I'm going to be bold about it, because that's who I am.
Yeah, I don't want to be mean about it, because I know a lot of people that haven't voted and don't vote, and it makes me mad, but
Why not be mean about it?
I don't know. For me, it's almost kind of like it's like thinking about like my religion. It's like people who don't share my religion, or who diss my religion. More important, that's what I should say. I don't necessarily get mad about
But
it.
you
I just stay quiet.
practice your religion, correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they can diss it, but at least
But
you
I don't get mad
practice it.
about it. So it's like
But
voting. I'm
I
all
think what
about
we're
it. But I'm not
talking
gonna get mad about it.
is that we are practicing our voting rights, but then people that don't, and these are ultimately people that will bitch and complain. I know plenty of people that bitch and complain, and then I actually did a little experiment.
Yeah.
So I had my ballot and everything before, but I wanted to see how easy it was day of to go vote. And you can do it online. You pick all your choices online, and it gives you a PDF thing to print out, where it's your like voting pamphlet. It gives you the signature sheet, and it gives you a cutout that you tape on envelope. So then all you have to do is put it in a goddamn envelope lick it, and drop it off in a
Lick
ballot
it,
box.
stick it.
I did that day of voting and dropped it off at like 5 p.m.
Really?
There's awesome companies like
Yeah.
Patagonia, but they take the day off so their employees can go vote. It's a paid holiday for them
Right.
to make sure. But yeah, like I just wanted to see how easy it was. Yeah, so it's super interesting to see just people bitch and complain, and it's like, yeah, did you go vote? Oh no, I didn't go vote. And it's like, oh, what'd you do? Yeah, I got off work at like 3. It was a hard day, man. So I smoked a bunch of weed and went
Yeah.
got tacos and
Yeah.
crushed some micheladas on my couch and watched the new season of Supernatural. I'm like, oh. This is why we got
That's
nowhere.
fucking good, man. I mean, if you think that anything sucks right now,
just you wait 20
but
years
you
from now, the
didn't
shit you
vote?
didn't vote on, just you wait.
that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, you know, this country was the foundation of the rules were made by our founding fathers, and the obvious idea behind it was to protect the people from a corrupt government in the future. And so the way that corruption is being overcome by the corrupt, is through a slow process of lawmaking.
Yeah.
To bend things to their way. And that's the truth, and it's a snowball effect of just lawmaking after lawmaking after lawmaking, and the only real way for us to combat it is to either prevent the laws from happening or to create a new law in effect to combat a law. And that only happens with voting. Not your Facebook posts, not your thumbs up, not your thumbs down, not your comments, not your likes. None of that shit actually, is in the battlefield. The way to get in the battlefield is to vote.
Oh,
So
yeah.
shut the fuck up unless you voted. If you didn't vote, then that's saying that you don't mind the way things are and you're okay with it. You trust the current government. You trust the future government.
Exactly.
Which is fun. Then that's the way you roll. That's cool with me. Don't talk to me. That's right. Dislike, unfollow. I never wanted you in the first place.
They're the fucking,
Get out of
they're the
here.
fucking people that don't use their turn signals all the fucking time.
Oh, or the people,
The
that
non-voters.
fucking park over like 2 fucking. You know what I'm talking about, man? They park
Absolutely.
over like 2 fucking lines in the.
Those are those fucking people, dude. Everything that is.
I
a
take pictures of those
scourge-
people and I just
Yeah.
dwell on that photo for like 3 days.
Oh God, that's where you wish a homeless person just needed to take a dump and be like, yeah, on this door
Yeah, dude.
handle,
Yeah.
just take that grimy asshole and do it.
Dude, you know, speaking of homeless people in cars, when I worked on a car lot many moons ago, you know, one morning as we're open,
Tatooine.
yeah, in the ditches of Tatooine, as I was walking around naked, there was we were opening up the cars, and I walked up to this SUV. It was like a super nice fucking Escalade. You know, I like open it up, and just some homeless guy was like, ah! And I was like, ah!
Oh wow!
I was like, how'd you get in here? And he just looked at me and didn't say anything, and I was like, you know what? And I just shut the door and I walked away.
There you go.
I was like, I don't even just
just
you
don't
know
wanna
it's
know.
time to scat. Good
Yeah.
morning.
Yep.
Dude, he had a book, he had a fucking coffee and everything, man. He was cozy. I don't blame him, man. If it was left unlocked, you're homeless, fucking cold, winter night, why not?
Oh, absolutely.
Fuck
Well, it
yeah.
seems like a well-educated homeless man,
And
as
I
opposed to
didn't
somebody
care.
being like naked from the waist down, just like shooting up some dirty skag and
Right.
like fucking an empty Cheetos bag. Like
Yeah,
that.
he wasn't some like piece of shit with like needles around him and shit in there, you know. At least not that I knew of.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
For all I know, he had a butt plug full of drugs. But anyways,
Probably could have been.
they're innovating.
Oh gosh, man. What? So we did talk about something. We did look something up. But before we go into the national shit, we usually do that second half. But
Yeah,
beginning
yeah.
half, what's going on in the PNW other than the votes?
Other than the votes. Well, you know me, so I go out hiking quite a bit.
Yeah.
I went out hiking recently. Went out to.
He's a
Stone
wild
Palm.
man. He's wild, alright. He goes out in the wild and he eats the berries and eats the deer shit and drinks his own urine. He's a beast. Look at him. You can tell. He grows the
Damn,
beard out for
that-
warmth, not style.
Oof, that's yeah, that's some embellishment for sure. I'm down to eat some like wild stuff, but I drink my own piss is probably yeah. The majority of that, no.
I can't get back across the road, for it is icy. I must have to drink my own urine.
Yeah. Nope. We'll resort to other things. I'd rather lick tar than do that.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
But there's got to be a better alternative.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I have a life straw too, so I'll just plug it into whatever I want and just suck water out of.
And just
Anyways,
suck. Yeah.
Yeah, just suck. Basically, just suck.
What have you been doing, man?
Yeah,
with
man.
your
So I went
hiking
out
and shit?
hiking. It was great. it was perfect fall, winter hiking. Well, I wouldn't say winter, even though winter's fast approaching. We're in November now, which it briefly brings me up to a point I hate about November. But so I went out to Bridal Falls, Lake Serene, and the Snoqualmie National Forest. It's a great hike. Yeah,
Damn,
beautiful.
man.
It's out there in Gold Bar. So
Gold
what's
Bar,
funny
okay.
is so going out to this forest road is like a straight line road. There's towns all along it, like every 5 miles, and some of the town names are ridiculous. Like there's a town called Startup.
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 It's called Startup.
Startup, Washington. So literally somebody they were, hey, there's this plot of land, Paul. Like, let's build a station here. What do we call it? Startup. Paul, that sucks. Shut up, boy, and dig. Like, can you imagine the people of this town? Where do you live? Startup, fucking Washington? Holy shit. At least everything else is like old Western and has that stupid fucking, like, Gold Bar.
Paul, what are you...
God, dude, it was ridiculous. But
That's
it's
great.
great, dude.
Yeah,
It's
good.
out there. It's beautiful land, and these people are small town people. We stopped on a brewery on the way back. It was great. But
Good.
so hike was awesome. It's pissing
Good.
rain.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It wasn't like cold, but it was. So what people don't understand about Washington is there's like different types of rain. If you don't know what that means,
There's a little bit of stinging rain, big old fat rain.
Forrest
sideways
Gump
rain.
over here trying to tell. Yeah, exactly. But what I think a big thing to recognize too is that
Not in Vietnam. though.
rain. No, not Vietnam Gump. We're talking like Bubba
Ooh,
Gump.
turn it down. All right, that's enough. All right, sorry.
Yeah, God, would you? So when rain is coming down in Washington, it comes down in many forms, and I think it's easily identifiable to understand that rain can be like heavy, but it's like in terms of like sky and surface area, it doesn't occupy a lot. So you can have like really thick or like big rain, but there's not a lot of it coming down. And then when we get that drizzling rain, but we're talking about like sky and how much of the surface area is coming down with rain, it can be a lot of it. And that's exactly what this was, is that it wasn't hard, heavy rain, but there was so much of it.
Just a lot of it.
Oh, dude, I looked like I jumped in a swimming pool with my clothes on. We got back to the car, and I'm peeling off like my hiking pants, which are slightly water repellent, but dude, it was like I was wearing, jeggings. I was just like,
Yeah, man.
Just like getting,
all fucking
getting
wet.
naked in a parking lot, just like windows are all fogged up, thank God. But like
And then you get
my
the fucking car heater on, and you get the fresh pair of socks on.
I don't
that
have-
you kept in the back.
I have fresh clothes, but I do not have like plastic wrap for my seats, and my seats smell like wet asshole. Like every time I get in my car in the morning,
Half sweat, half rain.
Exactly, it's still in there. I have to deep shampoo my car.
Oh shit, that's
But
bad.
anyways, so what was interesting is like it's gorgeous and beautiful going out there. Really enjoyed it. That's one thing I enjoy, and we're not going to talk too much about it because people voted to their thing. But so Washington State voted no on 1631.
Yes, they did.
1631 it was the greenhouse emissions tax on greenhouse gases and pollutions and things like that. And basically what it was going to do, it's not happening. It was going to start in 2020, and I think it was supposed to I don't know how long it was supposed to go, but every single year incrementally it was supposed to increase. And it was supposed to provide money for, I would say, like, it didn't do a good job of explaining because it was basically, it was going to raise money for a government-appointed board to do with whatever they wanted it to do with.
Yes, appointed by the governor.
Yeah, I think Jay Inslee's their governor.
Yeah, Jay Inslee, appointed by the governor with no accountability, no plan, and what this was supposed to start out with $2 billion and then increasing going forward. And so it's not so much, the bad aspect is, don't give an unaccountable board member that's unelected this big wad of our tax money with no fucking plan or backbone to prevent failure with it, right? So first of all, we don't want to do that. Second of all, of course, we don't want to pay more at the pump. We don't want to pay more for our electric bill. I think that's whatever. I think that's the least of the fucking concern. The biggest reason I think why people voted no on this, at least why the backbone of the passion behind why no on 1631 is because of if it did go through, this would be the first bill like this in the nation to pass and would set the example for following states. Washington, with how wealthy it is, and its government with its highest tax rate and its highest fucking minimum wage, has led the way with a lot of things, from gay marriage to marijuana. It's doing it with the fucking gun law 940 something that I heard fucking passed.
Oh, you're talking about the background extensive one?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
passed?
yeah.
Oh, I voted no on that. I voted yes on this bill.
Yeah, I did too. I voted no on that. I voted no on that too. I think. Anyways, but my point is that Washington State has usually led the way with these things, and if it did pass, Washington State would have been the first one to do it. Now, if this law was to go into effect around the nation, there would be no need or no cause for the government to tax or to get rid of carbon. It would slow down what's going on right now. Basically this big chess game of global warming, climate change between the people and the government. Right now, it's the government's turn. The ball is in their court, and we're waiting for their move. What this was a fucking another move to throw the whole thing off and have us look to the left, and then for the government not have to be in the place to make a move yet. Now it's up to the states to start a ripple effect of doing their own thing.
Well, do you think the government's going to make a move? Because that's Trump's whole cabinet.
I don't think it's going to happen for a long time. I don't think it's going to happen for 30 or 50 years. But I think.
But we don't. I think science says we don't have that time.
Exactly. That's my point. But even doing this sets it back by if the 1631 passed, it set it back by 75 years.
Why would it set it back if we? I'm just interested because I think a big thing that we've seen is that like government is incapable of doing many things because it's all based on like the politicking that goes on there, based on big business. 1631, I will say, reading briefly in the Washington Times or the Seattle Times, it was the biggest amount of advertisement spent on big oil and like all these big producers of greenhouse gases. They spent almost $30 million.
Most ever on one in the nation.
Last time it happened was when it was dealing with GMO foods and the labeling, and that was $24 million. So they spent $30 million worth of advertising saying vote no.
Just for fucking advertising.
Yeah, to say vote no on 1631. There were quite a few name brand people that donated to say vote yes and create ads. Bill Gates was one of them. A couple of wealthy business entrepreneurs. But then at the same time, too, is that a lot of these wealthy business people own big corporations in Seattle, and they get tax incentives, and there's benefits for them probably in it, too.
Of course, exactly.
But I will say, like, the reason I voted yes
the rich voted yes for it, man. As simple as that.
Well, I just voted yes because we have to start doing something now. I believe our generation, a lot of us have worked 2 jobs. We're used to working 60, 70 hours a week. If you don't start the ball rolling, I don't feel it's ever going to roll because it's always going to come down to that generational thing. And I think what we see a lot with older people is like, oh, well, that's your problem now.
Yeah.
And it's our problem because they had a chance to do something and they didn't, and that became the attitude about it. I don't think this governmental term is going to do anything about it. I mean, Trump's team has been dismantling the EPA. They've been doing a bunch of
I don't think Trump's team or anyone is going to do anything about it, man. I think
Well, that's what's worrisome. So that's like another 4 years. And like again, like things can change rapidly. I think that's another thing that made me think about it too, though, is that we went from George Bush, Obama to Trump. That's a huge shift change, dude. That's yeah, exactly. Like crazy, bust open the gates of the zoo.
Curveball.
So whoever knows what may happen in the next 8 to 12 years, it could totally flip flop.
It can go in any direction, man.
It makes me think though, because this might segue into our next is that
let's
maybe
get out of it.
Maybe there is technology out there where if it gets really bad, the government or somebody just comes and is like, "Hey, this is going to fix our problem."
That's what I'm
boom.
saying, dude.
Like alien technology, like that type of shit.
No.
That could, but here's what makes it. Get up, because do we deserve it? Do you deserve it? But I think same thing. Shit. Like I think about when we think about we don't have like cures for cancer. I believe we have cures for cancer. A lot of these.
So we're going the conspiracy route now.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck yeah, dude!
Because
I love this shit because
there's so much money dumped in these pharmaceutical companies. Are you kidding me? There's no way you make as much money as you do, and you have not figured out how to cure cancer. That's bullshit.
Boom.
You have so much money, you guys can't buy enough billion-dollar yachts to fucking not spend time The dude,
Didn't,
he got put away. I forget his name, but he, I want to say it was Martin Scarelli or something. But so this guy was like a young
the movie maker. Oh no, not Scorsese.
No, I probably fucked the name up. This guy, he was prominent because he increased the price of I think an HIV/AIDS drug to like he increased it by 750%. I think
okay.
I think it was called like
at what
DARPA or Dharma.
Is it considered greedy?
Well, that's the whole thing. Is that so? He was. I don't know his role. I read it a while ago, and it really intrigued me just because once I started reading the article, I started following up on things that started happening to him. So basically, said person, don't have my phone out, so I can't look it up. He increased the price of this AIDS drug by a ridiculous amount, which made it super expensive for people to get. And his whole point was that, well, it's accessible to everyone, but my whole thing is that raising it up so much, we're going to take all of that money into funding. And that's what he pitched. That's what he argued. And he was put on the spotlight for sure. And then what happened is he got called into like Congress or whatnot to talk. And he sat there and basically just pleaded the fifth multiple times in a row. And it was,
wow.
I can't remember if it was Trey Gowdy or who was it, like Jeff Shavitz or whatever.
Yeah.
They're both super smart. And they're like,
yeah.
Trey Gowdy was a prosecuting attorney. But so he started pleading the fifth a bunch, and they basically just tossed him out because they're like, okay, you're not here to like answer questions. You're here to just be a smart ass.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, he bought the so Wu-Tang made that album. There's only one made. And it was like $2 million. He went and bought it. And,
what?
Yeah, this super white dude went and bought it. That I guess it doesn't have any context, but seriously, you watch the video of it, like, he's the nerdiest fucking white guy to buy this Wu-Tang album. There's only one. It was a lot of money. And then he threatened there was whether it was Ghostface Killah came out and said something against him, but he posted a video threatening Ghostface Killah that he would take the album and digitally write him off it and break it and, like, just erase him. And it's like, it was a stupid fucking move. Anyways, fast forward to he actually ended up going to jail for like
musicians getting in conflict with politicians.
Oh, dude, especially when it comes down to like nerdy little turds like this kid.
It's kind of like Kanye fucking. I mean, kissing ass, sucking dick
this kid
to
was
fucking
just,
Trump.
You look at him, and he just looks like an oily little snake. But he actually he got put in jail for fraud because he defrauded a bunch of his investors regarding this whole drug. I just got to find his name really quick.
Well,
so
I hope justice took care of him, and got made. I hope the son of a bitch got caught. I hope he got. He got. You got, son. You caught. You serving time behind bars. You're going down.
Yeah. Can't find his name. It's okay. Y'all can figure it out. But so I believe that there is we probably do have technology to bail us out of situations, and I think that's one thing that'll be interesting to see is that maybe with this whole climate change thing where things need to start happening rapidly, maybe they'll just give it out as like a last ditch effort because like, okay, so we didn't fix it, so here we go, we're gonna have time to change it. But how does that teach a lesson? You know, if you just have things to bail people out for being lazy, stupid, not being sensical, not being aware, that doesn't reinforce any sort of consequence, which we should have. I mean, dude, ecosystems and all these things are changing and dying off. I mean, that's a serious issue. And just because we have the technology to fix it and hopefully change it back rapidly doesn't teach us as humans anything. And we'll still keep eating McDonald's. We'll still overconsume. Yeah, but we'll still kill people texting and driving. Like, when the fuck are we going to learn?
If I agree, but the more people that can make money off of it, then the longer the fucked up system or process or whatever the hell it is that is in place will stay. That's just how it goes, man. And it's about money.
Okay, so I was right. His name was Martin Shkreli. And he took an AIDS drug and he made it. It was super cheap, and he made it $750 is what it cost.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take the money, and with the money, I'm gonna fix.
And he was called the most hated man in America.
Like you're gonna fix stuff like your fucking yachts, fucking parking, fucking.
Look at this little slimy snake. He looks like a dude.
I like
who
the
just
way you say it. Oily snake,
fraud
slimy
people.
snake. He totally does, man. He totally does look like it. He looks like he doesn't give a fuck.
Daraprim. Yeah, he hiked up the price of Daraprim by a ton, and he's been convicted. So he's got 7 years in prison. But then again, it's a rich white man prison. So this drug. So you guys read this article. I'm just giving you a slight background before we transfer. It was Daraprim. It was used for HIV/AIDS. Its price factor went up from $13.50 to $750 a pill.
My gosh, dude.
Yeah.
That's just so obnoxious. You don't do that with anything, man.
Yeah, and his whole thing
At least gas took fucking quite a few years for them to fucking hike their percentage
And even
up.
that's, like changeable by seasons. Like, in the wintertime it's going to lower. In the summertime it's going to raise.
Yeah.
People driving more. But, yeah, overnight this dude just took it, hiked it up to $750, and then, we're using it to fund research. And then he gets found out to be for fraud. And it's like, oh, dude. I don't know if there's like a legion of gay men with HIV/AIDS. It doesn't even have to be gay men. People with AIDS out there. Maybe Magic Johnson is leading it on like a fucking battle scene. They're just gonna pound you into the dust. Like, yeah.
It could be it, man.
So will alien technology save us from this whole world-ending climate change? It possibly may, but aliens too have been on the forethought.
That's such a broad topic. Austin's looking at me because it's almost like a parent giving a kid candy. He knows I love this shit. He's hiding behind the mic right now, giving me the fucking dirty eye. He's giving me the big eye. But we are gonna jump to a break. But just so you know, when we come back from the break, what we're gonna be discussing is an article that just came out a few hours ago. Actually, here in this first week of November. Something pretty cool. An article just came out a few hours ago. It's actually by CNN. And we're going to dive into it and see what's going on. And it is about extraterrestrial life. So we'll be back with you after the break. Check us out at PackX Podcast. By the way, while you're listening, please give us a download. Give us a thumbs up. Go follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook so that way you can catch up with the latest and greatest from Pacific Experience Podcast.
Do it, because we're trying to get sponsored by Miller High Life.
Miller High Life.
Yeah.
Are we? Because you said champagne and beers. I think every single episode.
Yeah. I'm trying to get it happening. Trying to get a cooler in here. But yeah, give us a download. We'd like talking to you guys. We're back. Fresh from break.
Yes.
Mainly a bathroom break, but we're fresh from break.
Yep. Fresh from a break, and we hope you are too. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening to us while you drive to wherever it is you're going, maybe during your commute, perhaps to
Working
a party.
your grocery shift, got a headphone in, listen to the Pacific Experience podcast. We appreciate it.
Fuck yeah. That's well said, man. Anyways, here we are. This is episode 27. Check us out at packxpodcast.com. We are back. We're back from the break, and we got some fucking shit to talk about.
Ooh, yeah, so we left off on alien technology.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah. We
what do
you want? What do you want?
I gave the little finger point, but it's okay because we were talking about an article earlier that Lloyd pointed out to me and said, "Hey man, check this shit out." It popped up on CNN, which hard to trust news sources, but this is I think pretty open for the topic. And it regards probes. Alien probes going through our galaxy.
That's right.
Yeah.
So CNN came out with an article earlier, just a few hours ago, actually, and it's interesting because it's talking about extraterrestrials. So it's interesting. It's also interesting when something as big as CNN brings it up. You know our opinions about CNN if you're listening to this, so we'll just put that to the side. But basically, I'll read you the headline. The headline is, Harvard researchers' suggestion of an alien space probe is probably wrong, by Don Lincoln. Don fucking Lincoln.
Sounds like a stalwart man.
Yeah, Mr. Don Lincoln. So
what this article talks about, it talks about
They say multiple things in terms of like an anomaly. They say it could be a radiation booster change, but basically something similar to a comet came through Earth's atmosphere. Well, not, I wouldn't say atmosphere, the galaxy.
Within our solar system.
Within our solar system, there we go.
Yeah.
That's correct.
The comet came within our solar system.
And it came from interstellar, so it came outside our solar system. It came
and
at
it's
a
very
very big. I think they said it was almost a mile wide, or half a mile to a
half
mile wide,
long, and 80 meters wide.
Okay,
Came
so
from
a
interstellar space.
fairly large object. And the thing was that when they were looking at it, they said, "Oh, it's not an asteroid for how fast it's moving. For the speed that it's moving, it most fits a comet." But it does not have a tail. So when comets are coming through and you see the tail, that's typically with their velocity and the way that it's moving. And I just know this from reading this and also remembering stuff from an actual community college class I took. It's breaking off debris. So basically it's warming up, and that debris is breaking off of said comet, and it's creating that tail due to heat exchange, due to light passing off what's coming off of it.
And so that would be normal, but what's not normal about this, what's not normal about this is its speed and its velocity does not match any possible ruling that has been suggested. And there's been mainly 3 main rulings that have been suggested, but of course the evidence does not, of what the evidence we do have from this item appearing and then disappearing so fast is none of it lines up with the claims that have been made.
Yeah, I think the closest. So these 2 Harvard scientists, the reason they say that the way it's worded that it's not alien-esque is that they came up with a hypothesis that there's a thing called radiation pressure.
Pressure, yeah.
Yeah, that would accelerate.
Or pressure.
Yeah, I think it's pressure, but so they were tracking its velocity, and what was weird is that it started accelerating as it went out of our solar system. And that was odd because typically a comet accelerates and decelerates because it's losing material and doesn't have enough mass. And so that was what was odd, is that this thing was an anomaly in terms of how it came in at a certain velocity and then started speeding out.
Yes. Started to speed up, and they're saying that it sped up and left because of the
radiation
sun.
Pressure.
It's from the sun. All theories lead to the sun.
And so, with that, I'll give the slight definition. Radiation pressure, which is a force that comes from light from the sun bouncing off. So the name that they gave this object is the Hawaiian name or Hawaiian word for scout. And it's spelled Oumuamua.
Amuamua.
Amuamua. We're going to butcher it to death. But yeah, so that's what they named this object. They call it Amuamua. And they state that the force is clearly related to the amount of light bouncing off the object. What was interesting, too, about this is that, so it's really, I wouldn't say nerdy wording, but so the sun, this object entered coming into our solar system at a higher plane above the sun, and then it used the gravitational pull. And that's the anomaly
to project itself out.
Yeah, but it went faster, and that's the anomaly is that when it used the gravitational pull, it should be the same rate because that's how it is in space.
Of course.
But it started leaving faster, and it flew out at a different plane. So that was also another weird thing too.
Yeah.
But yeah, was this a alien probe?
So they say it could be. They say it could either be parts of an alien craft. They said it could be abandoned parts from an alien craft.
I mean, I think it is.
And so, I mean, to me, if you think about it, it makes sense if it would be an alien craft.
Yep. I mean, I just want to full-heartedly say that it probably was an alien probe, and they're here to observe us.
Man.
Yeah, here to steal the secret. What was it? Szechuan sauce from Burger King.
Here's the thing, man. You know this, dude. I am fucking sold on the alien idea. Now, as far as knowing which ones they are and who they are and all the other conspiracies out there about it, I it's hard for me to believe. But I'm totally sold on the belief. Now, I'm more fascinated with the alien cover-up than the idea of aliens.
Like Roswell.
not so much that. I mean, I think that could even be a fake one. That could have been just planted there.
It was huge, though.
It was, but it could make sense.
There were so many people that came out, and then there were so many people that died after coming out talking about it.
It's true. But exactly, I mean, it's just shit like that, man. And so I think that the efforts towards the cover-up, to me, are the evidence that there's life out there.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
just
if
think
you accuse someone and they try really hard to defend themselves, it's like, why are you being defensive?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that's how I feel
If
towards
it's not
the
true,
U.S. government.
be more honest.
Yeah, man, and so that's kind of how I've always felt about it. And so you take the feelings I have about CNN as well, which again, we're not going to talk about. And so with CNN taking this topic and talking about it, it was so predictable who they brought up at the end of the article. I could have told you that this person and these lines would have been quoted at some point in this article, knowing this was CNN. I find the cover-up and the manipulation and the word talk and the word track in this article more fascinating than what it's talking about.
Yeah.
Because I think the reason why they're choosing to acknowledge this, here's the thing, man. I think a lot's going on in space, and I think that a lot of effort is being done that we don't know about, that tax dollars are going towards, to hide it. Do you know 3 fucking trillion? I'm saying trillion, not billion. $1 trillion. Fucking Google this, dude. $3 trillion.
Can we trust Google?
Yes, you can trust Google with this one. $3 trillion went missing from the fucking Pentagon. You know about this, right? Have you heard about this when $3 fucking trillion went missing?
When was this?
This was in the last fucking 10 years.
Oh, okay.
$3 trillion were discovered that went missing that had to do with the military funding.
Oh,
right?
okay.
This was
I'm not
obviously
surprised.
Going towards, it's obvious. They said it went towards like black ops programs and shit.
Yeah.
Right? Experimenting. Right? Okay, shit like that. The ones who can do that is the shit like CIA. Okay, these people, when they came in, when they invented themselves, and when they became into power in like the late 60s, they basically gave themselves the right to be like, look, we are allowed to take as much money as we want, when we want, without telling you why we're doing it. And it's legal. So that has become a new effect.
And I think it was all under the premise of like this is for the protection and betterment of the United States.
The protection of the United States.
Yeah.
Exactly, of course. So yeah, you can already see, of course. I mean, it's obvious.
I can't remember who said it, but somebody it might have been on Joe Rogan's podcast, but somebody was talking about like, oh, the Russians, they're building space marines or whatnot, and then it just became like, why are we building space marines?
Yeah. Like, why are we not on this? How are we not? We're gonna come on, America! Elon, do something!
Yeah. So I could totally see it. I mean,
Yeah,
for
man.
sure. I think it's another thing too to not worry people, but we live in such a confined bubble. But that's one
do.
thing. Like we're out here. Like you ever look at the stars? You ever be in a place where there's no light pollution?
I have
There's so much
it's insane.
out there.
The sky looks like
I think
glitter,
you
glitter
have to be, backwoods dumb is not even the right term for it. But you just have to be so.
You have to have your fucking head so far up your fucking Starbucks, and you have to have your iPhone so just shoved up your. If you are just like, oh yeah, CNN is those I do.
Well,
I
just
see,
not
I,
to
I
believe.
hear people that say, oh, but it would be on the news. It would be on the news. Do you really rely on the fucking news as authority or as your source of reliable information? I'm not asking for you to care about the topic I'm talking about. I'm asking for you to not tell me I'm wrong because your news source would acknowledge it if it was true. That's the shit I'm talking about.
I think it's so you can play both sides. To look up there and to think that we are the only intelligent life forms in the whole entire solar system. I think that's just like it's dumb to me.
I've only seen
there's
12
stuff we
fish
don't
in the
even
ocean.
see.
Those are the only ones that exist.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, the other side is that like so we have this technology and whatnot, and we feel we're advanced and we're smart. You play to think that well maybe there's other life forms out there. I firmly believe that there's other life out there, which I do believe there is. So I believe that there's much smarter life out there than we are. For sure.
Oh yeah, man. We're
I mean,
a type,
'cause
we're
look
a
at
type
what we're
zero
doing.
civilization.
Look at what we do constantly. I mean, you just study human behavior. We relapse all the time with human behavior.
We're also very domesticated, though, by something.
Well, yeah, for sure.
By something at fault. We're not at we are so far from our natural selves when you were already born.
Yeah.
Being born into a fucking hospital, man. We've talked about this.
Oh yeah.
You're so
dude.
far from your
It's
natural
weird.
self that we don't know what the human is naturally.
It's only a slight blur, but because it reminds me of sort of like bringing out the animalistic part of you. So somebody was talking about, it was on listen to a lot of podcasts. You'll learn that Lloyd and I listen to a multitude of podcasts. Someone was talking about,
Fuck yeah. Podcasting is great. Listening and doing it.
Working, it was like, we reference Joe Rogan a lot, but that's because the people we listen to podcasting, they all tie in similar to Joe Rogan and the whole
Joe Rogan's the top of the podcast food chain, man.
Oh well, the people he brings on too. But so he was talking to some people. I think he's talking to other comedians like Bert Kreischer and whatnot about like how you work out. And here's what I'm talking about: like when you say we're out of our element, we're domesticated. When I work out, there are ways for me to get, I don't know, like hyped up. I don't take pre-workout. I don't take a bunch of caffeine, but yeah. But what's funny is that for me, like listening to music and sort of thinking about scenarios, it gives me like I can like bring out like aggression. I can bring out these like, for me it feels like animalistic but like tribal warrior like feelings. Like,
yeah.
And what's funny, so Joe Rogan was talking about it because somebody was asking, was like, well, what do you think about when you work out, or what do you do? And he's like, I think about like rape and murder. And they're just like, what? And he goes,
shit.
yeah, I think about if someone's trying to like kill my wife or like harm my family, and the feelings you would get from like wanting to protect and fight. And what's funny is I do that.
You don't need fucking
I do that shit all the
creatine.
time. Like when I'm tired, but
Yeah.
I'm on the bike for 10 miles and I don't want to bike for 10 miles, and I put on some music. I think about like if I was in a firefight with my brother. Like,
yeah.
what the feelings I would have. And yeah, dude, my skin bumps, like I get goosebumps, and I would just start breathing heavy. I'm just like,
yeah, dude. I did that on a jog the day before
totally
yesterday,
fucking
man.
works. And that's one of those things where it's like, if you learn how to consistently do that, like, dude, you could totally flip a switch to be total primal. Absolutely.
You can control your brain.
You kidding me? Those are the type of people you don't want to be in a fight. Like, you could have some drunk dude try to pick a fight in you. The second that you flip that switch, you'll maul this dude. And that's one of those things where you say we're domesticated. I totally feel that. It's so fake.
Man.
And I think there's definitely people, too, that just know that right away, where they know, like, okay, cool. Like,
I have to take this powder, then I have to take this bag of fucking pills, and then I have to go.
Yeah.
Dude, you know, I tried one of those fucking drinks.
We are medicated. It's probably Bang.
It was
probably some.
No, it wasn't Bang. It was like a no explode drink
Oh
almost, dude.
god,
And it
dude,
was
that shit's so bad.
It was at the fucking like this smoothie place, and I went and got it, and I was like, you know what? Let me try this shit. I haven't had this shit in like 10 years. I tried it. I got itchy, and I was like, fuck no, dude. I was done. I was like, fuck this shit, dude. I just
cracked out.
Yeah, fucking. It was ridiculous,
Yeah.
dude.
We are so far
Anyways.
from natural and primal to just domesticated
We
and
are.
medicated.
We are, and the natural and primal part of us is also very smart. That natural instinct when we're like, wait, something isn't right here. When we also know generally in a whole as a society. So to back to the fucking alien thing, dude. The cover up. I can talk about this, Austin. For days, dude. I could write a fucking book with bullshit that just shit that I've looked into, dude. I dove into a fucking rabbit hole and went fucking nuts. And then of course I realized that. 8 out of 10 rabbit holes I went down were fake and were put there for me to go down.
Yeah,
and
to get you roped in.
My theory, is essentially, okay, man. I think that things are flying through, our. As soon as I go into the alien theory, everyone goes to their phone. All right, Lloyd.
I was trying to go back to the article
Lloyd.
and it popped up a little ad, and I was like, cool, shut this sound off.
But man, I think a lot of things have flown through our atmosphere. It's very possible.
Check this out.
Yeah, check this out. I said something to my wife the other night, and it was kind of like an aha moment about this whole conspiracy thing, dude. And I stopped with the whole alien thing after a while, because then there's only so much you can do, so much you can look into, and then eventually the ratio from real to fake was just not enough for me. Anyways, before I go off in tangents, my theory is that I think that they took the truth, whoever they is, the ones who do know about it, covering it up, whether it's the fucking Rothschilds or NASA or the United States government or all of them, I don't know.
Yeah, a collective of people that actually know.
Yeah, whatever. Whoever they are. I think that they took the truth, and I think that they said it. They just put the truth out there, and they blended it out there with all the other disinformation.
Yeah.
And of course, it's going to be a way for them to see how people do react to it. The portion, and if people, and it's beautiful because they say the truth, and then it gets blended in with the conspiracy being a conspiracy, and people just shrugging it off, being like, whatever. I think the truth was told honestly in the show Ancient Aliens. I think all the truth was told. I think these guys were given the funding. They're like, hey, we're going to put you on the History Channel. Here, make a fucking show with all this shit. By the way, here's more scientists. Here's money. Go just fucking pop the lid off this shit. But at the end of each episode or at the end of each theory, every time they fucking talk about something, they give their spin-off of it.
Yeah.
And their spin-off of it is, I think, so far-fetched. So they'll go tell you, like, oh, so
they
we
give you the
found
facts.
this Egyptian carving, and we found this, and here's this evidence, and here's this scientific discovery, and all these scientists agree and come up with this fucking experiment that proves this. So we think that the aliens are doing this. And it's like, well, no, okay, that's fucking far-fetched.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. But everything you just said
make it
is
purposely
fucking
misleading.
incredible. Right, exactly. And so, you know, I think that that's the method of covering it up, because where do you hide something in plain sight? You know, that's where you hide something, and where do you hide a conspiracy?
Exactly, that was the thing. Is
a
like
conspiracy
best way to
hides itself.
Yeah, exactly. The best way to hide like the truth is in a conspiracy theory, making everything just seem false. And I'll say too,
Like
especially
Flat Earth was thrown out there because of something having to do with aliens, dude. It was threw out there to distract us and have all of us just fucking in question of what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, and I'll say too that when major news started happening, you know, I would say in the 30s and 40s, that was when you had mass communication in terms of television and radio. And I think when that started, the government knew, and we were talking about conspiracies. They knew how to control it really well, especially dictating what you saw and what people believed. I do believe also that there were things that were just blatantly shown that were facts that was just like, oh shit, like this is real. But people had yet to even grasp or understand what was truly real, and then what was curated to make them feel, make opinions, and, you know, have perceptions and perceive. I mean, that's a huge thing in the Cold War. I mean, it's been a huge thing ever since.
It was propaganda, man.
Yeah,
exactly. To build the military,
There's never, ever been a very neutral, free news source, ever.
No,
Ever.
there never has. And it started with propaganda for the military, man. That's how they recruited for World War I. Other than the motivation from Pearl Harbor, it's how they recruited for World War II. To take what happened at Pearl Harbor and to broadcast that through television and through radio.
It's all curated.
Dude,
it all deals with feelings,
and
too. And that's been perpetuated even to now.
Feelings.
I mean, dude, this last political race was a huge thing where I think we talked about it on a podcast before where I briefly said, but political opponents go for feelings. You go for how people feel. That's how you get votes.
Exactly.
So it's not a new tactic. It's way back, like you're saying, World War I. You know, like, fight the axis of evil. Hop over a trench at the sound of a whistle and get blown away by machine guns.
Yeah.
And do that every single whistle blow.
Yeah, they convince you to do that and want to do that with pride. At least sign up for it until at least they show in the movies.
That's not at all dissing World War I veterans.
No.
Fuck no.
Oh, absolutely
it's just
not.
That's the
it's happened every
absolute
fucking
power
war that's
of
happened.
corralling people. Yep.
Yeah, and you know it works regardless of what the reasoning is for. If the reasoning is for good, to actually suppress the bad guys, or if it's just another fucking banker war. But we don't want to get off on tangents. We're talking about aliens and shit.
Well, that's our thing, is how do we tell what's real about aliens? And you were
Exactly.
saying
How do you
that
tell,
you
man?
believe that there has been stuff that is real in the past, and there's also been stuff that's been covered up, and how do you filter out and discern?
Well, what I'm fascinated about are the mistakes. So here's the thing. You can look at, we know this, there's a cover-up. Okay, swallow that, accept that. There's a big cover-up hiding something. Will we know what it is? Fuck no. Accept that right now. You do not know. I don't know. We will not know. The sooner you accept that, the more fun you can have in researching this shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, without getting too
I will say
caught up about it.
Evidence is there because of the leaps in technology that we've made from, not even just since the Roswell incident. So technology is now on an exponential graph. It's been on an exponential rise for the past 20 years. I mean, we were in high school when flip phones were still a thing, and when iPods weighed 2 pounds and were clunky, blocky, and only held 100 songs. And now you can basically have an Intel Core processor on your phone. This computer, losing your smartphone is more valuable than losing your wallet.
Absolutely, man.
I will say, watching progression of technology through history, I think is a big indicator that we've had access to alien technology, because we made huge leaps and jumps fairly quickly. And like I was talking about before, at points where it was vital for us to survive and continue on, it was just oh, here's this. Oh, here's this. Oh, we figured this out. And it's just what?
Yeah.
Even with things, especially in terms of medicine, it computes to everything in terms of energy, medicine,
yeah, the government's
warfare.
The government's taking all that stuff to build and grow on, like you're saying, all that technology. But the part of advancement for humanity that is being suppressed, that is also to be learned, I believe, from extraterrestrial life, at least intelligent life, is the fucking mind. Because all the people, the thousands and thousands of people that have been claimed to have been abducted. Okay, if at a certain point, it's just if a bunch of people are going to claim that they were molested or raped, we look into it, right? We all look into it. We're like, wow, okay, this has actually been going on this whole time. Okay, with all these people that have been abducted, they have the same fucking stories. All of them. Hundreds of people. What are they just, they have scars. They have fucking, dude, there's a document, I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. There's a documentary of this guy who's not about aliens, I'm not for him, doesn't believe him, but has several stories of him being delusional in the night and seeing a bright light and waking up and seeing these tall figures and them all of these stories, they say they're talked to telepathically through the brain. You think about it, telepath, what does what does that mean?
Telepathy?
Tele means to transport, right? Yeah, transport, transmit, right? Teleport. Telephone, phone, phonetic, to communicate. Telepathic, okay? Telepathy. I think telepathy is very real. And I think all of it is suppressed. Anyways, before I talk about that, this guy, a documentary was made because eventually he's being led by these people who are fascinated with his stories. He still doesn't believe in aliens. He thinks he's having nightmares, dreams and shit. So he's thinking it's mental shit. He's not worried about fucking aliens coming in his room. He's worried about his brain. Yeah. He thinks he's sick because he does not believe in this shit. Yeah. Right? These guys are doing a documentary with him, and they're younger dudes, and they're no.
Well, they obviously believe in it, so they see him
right?
oh, wow.
Right. Well, dude, this guy goes to a fucking doctor after the next fucking visit that he fucking claims he has. The doctor has been doing this for years and with many patients. And what the doctor finds is a fucking piece in his leg. And what this is a little tiny metal fucking microscopic piece. This guy claims that he was abducted and he remembers laying on a fucking bed and them doing shit to his fucking body, and he wakes up with these scars. Well, this one fucking surgeon keeps pulling these pieces out of patients that have been claimed to have abducted by aliens. And what is this piece? So then they take this piece out, right? And the guy's shaking his head, and he's like, I can't believe it. It wasn't a fucking dream. They break down this piece to see what it is.
So they take a piece out of this farmer that didn't believe.
Fucking farm that didn't believe in aliens and who was abducted, and they fucking cut it out. It's dude, I'll fucking show you the documentary. And then they're looking at this piece. What is this piece? And the elements made up of it, they're trying to prove that aliens exist with this fucking piece, right? And they're saying that they can prove it if a certain percentage of elements in there are not from this planet, then that says that it's not from this fucking planet, and that
it has to be
it's
from
made.
Outer space or
it's
outer
intentionally
sources.
Made. It's not organic.
Yes.
It didn't grow somewhere. It was constructed and made. Well, it had the same material in it that was found in the fucking Roswell crash on the fucking... It's this type of fucking material that's light as a feather but can bend like a fucking rubber band but is as strong as fucking iron. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds fucking so fake. It sounds fantasy.
Did I talk to you about... I feel like I talked to you about a podcast on here about that. One of my best friends, his dad was...
Yeah, you told me a story about that.
Yeah, where his buddy was one of the Roswell people, and
Yeah.
for years of silence, he wasn't allowed to talk. But that was the main thing. So when this guy got super old, he basically just wrote to my best friend's grandpa. He wrote everything that happened, and because he was dying.
Right.
And according to this man's account, that they weren't allowed to talk about anything. It was under penalty of death that they would basically be just killed for speaking about this. But they found medals at this crash site, and he was in the Air Force, and he was a scientist.
Origin.
Dude, he said that it was so weird because they would take this metal that they had, and they had it in a big hangar like Area 51.
Yeah.
And this metal could fold. You could fold it like origami. You could fold it like paper, but it was more rigid than steel.
That's insane, man.
And so their whole thing was to identify it and reconstruct it. And he talks about all this crazy stuff in terms of camouflage abilities, and that's where all of that's because, especially like what's weird is you also look at the movies. You look at Hollywood. All that shit started coming out in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, where like camouflage, invisible cloaks, like all alien technology.
We took technology that was discovered and militarized it.
Yeah.
And that's very obvious through propaganda.
You're talking about
through our
conspiracy,
actions.
but you put it in Hollywood films.
Yeah.
Then it associates like, oh yeah, it's just made up. That's like fantasy. But
Right.
it can
It's
totally be
fantasy,
derived
exactly.
from reality.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was, and that's what's crazy is that it's weird that hearing from, I don't have many older people that were in the military, but I know of friends that have grandparents that served in World War II and did these things, but they have buddies that like dealt with these incidences, and they all say so many similar things in terms of like material, where it was like super lightweight, very strong and flexible, super bendable, and it just like it defied anything that they had going on. And there was plenty of times where they weren't allowed to talk about it under penalty of death.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
sign a vow of
fascinating,
silence.
man. Yeah,
Crazy.
It's very fascinating. In fact, a lot of the people who I recommend for your listeners out there to go research into these people. These people are whistleblowers or they're just leaders of movements. John Callahan from the FAA. Okay, he was like third from the fucking top of the FAA, which is fucking huge. Okay, this guy is everything that happens in the skies comes across this guy's fucking eyes. Did not mean to rhyme. But and he's a whistleblower. Look at Edgar Mitchell, the fucking astronaut. A bunch of astronomers and scientists. But to go back to this fucking article, dude, at the end of this fucking article, and just the way it's, they bring up Carl Sagan. And Carl Sagan used to say, was for the idea of extraterrestrial life, and then out of nowhere was against it. And there's a video of him saying, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, which is true, right? If you're going to claim something extraordinary, like Amuama, okay, this fucking comment that came through, if you're going to claim that that's an alien fucking craft, then that's pretty extraordinary. If we're going to accept that as true, then we need extraordinary evidence.
Yep.
Right? Okay, I can agree with that. The evidence is extraordinary, and it's out there, and it's fucking hidden, it's suppressed, it's made fun of. The name of this documentary I recommend is the documentary called Unacknowledged by Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer. We've talked about it before. Even though I still have my doubts on it, I believe it could be a planter, is what I call them, planter conspiracies that are there to, diverge the truth. Diverge you in your search for truth. But yeah, man, I think the fucking extraterrestrial life is out there. But my conclusion with it, though, is it's either two things. The human race, we are either important and needed, or we're just really beautiful.
Like an anomaly.
Because we're still here. And there is shit going on out there. And I can't tell you what it is, but I can tell you the evidence is extraordinary, that there's definitely life form out there. Or at least it's being hidden.
Yeah.
And
I would agree with that.
I think we're either needed for that, and my theory is the same from when I was 6 years old, dude. I've been fascinated with aliens since I was 6 years old. The only movie that scared me was the movie Signs. Not the movie Grudge, not The Ring. The movie Signs scared me more because that was more realistic to me.
Yeah, Mel Gibson is a scary motherfucker.
Right, yeah, Mel Gibson's terrifying. Especially when he's mad and covered in blood. The Patriot! But my conclusion from my idea when I was 6 years old, dude, And I used to say, my thought is that they need our crops, is what I used to think, because of the signs, right, that were going on. I thought that they needed us. They needed parts of Earth, and we take care of Earth, or we are the owners of Earth, so they need us to maintain Earth for them. That was my thought as a kid. Well, now it's not much different. It's either two things, man. We're still here, and that either means that we're needed for something, or we're fucking beautiful. If you look at it, why do we conserve a fucking tiger? Right, there's 4 of them left in the world. We care so much about them to leave them in their natural fucking habitat. They don't provide to us. We get by with plenty of fur and meat. You know what I mean? They don't provide anything to us. We don't need them here. Right? They're not going and killing a bunch of rodents that we need dead that are eating our crops or whatever. Right? These certain tigers or some shit. So we protect them. Why? Because they're beautiful. We feel it's our duty in evolution to protect these fucking species, right? At least some parts of us, or in a whole as humanity. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Essentially, the same thing could be happening to us. Leave the fucking humans alone. We're just another fucking species in the fucking jungle, dude, that's being left alone, or is not being left alone. It's one or the other, man, but the matter of fact, we're still here, and we either play an important role, or we're beautiful.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's my thoughts.
And I just to add on before we close, I think what's cool about that is that higher intelligence, they're very pragmatic and analytical. So there's reasoning for everything that follows. But what we are is maybe that whole outlier, but sort of like a wild card. I mean, when you do things that are totally out of ordinance, that are totally out of the order of operations, they want to understand why. So like you're saying, like preserving the tiger, like the one of 4. Why? If it's dying, it's supposed to die.
If natural selection selection is choosing
if it's the lesser animal, or if it's weaker and it's not supposed to survive. What is the fascination? What is the purpose? And so that almost maybe we are just intriguing to higher intellectual beings of like why we do certain things, because it may be dumb and mundane, but they don't understand the reasoning behind it. So maybe that's why they continue to watch
a big
us.
Research
and that
project.
Also too brings about some conclusions that they may never would have thought of. I honestly feel that's one thing, like people, especially a lot going on now, like there's a whole lot of darkness in the world, but there's also a great amount of light.
Fuck
and
yeah,
a
man.
lot of that light
Absolutely.
is also like not positive, but it comes out of the most unlikely places, and a lot of people go like, well, how could that happen? And that, I think, is the whole beauty behind being human, like being who we are. I mean, you can say 9 out of 10 people in this circumstance would act this way, but that 1 out of that 10 person, that one person is going to act differently, and it could totally be just absolutely radiant, gorgeous, like life-changing for millions of people, and that would never be sought if you just followed order of operations and thought like this is how it's always going to be.
Right, exactly. Just to think fucking outside of the box.
Yep.
Man, I think what happened a long time ago when we did when we split the atom and we had the atom bomb, I think that we didn't just affect the whole world. I think we affected probably some neighbors in the solar system or even outside of our solar system when we did that. And at least when we did that, it's kind of like the aliens must have thought, oh shit, the kids found the matches.
Yep, absolutely.
And we better go. And that's when all of a sudden, that's when all those UFOs were spotted flying over the White House. They flew over the White House for 7 days. Yeah. Mind you, too, the president was missing. There's a conspiracy. This isn't proven as fact yet. It's only a conspiracy, but the president went missing.
Who was president at the time? Was it Nixon? Was this
No,
World War II?
It was the guy... No, it was after Eisenhower. So it was after World War II. It was after Eisenhower. I can't remember. People are screaming at their fucking speaker right now. Just screaming the answer.
Fuck.
Idiots! Anyways, that's a conspiracy. But what's not a conspiracy, which there's evidence to be shown, is the fucking UFOs flying over the White House, man. And then it's like... And of course, because cameras are out now and video is out, footage of all this stuff can be captured rather than an artist painting a
what he saw.
An idea of it, you know what I mean? Because there's artists' paintings there's paintings of UFOs, dude, from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. From the fucking...
What was the
Roman
conspiracy
Empire was
that
up.
the president was missing for 7 days?
Yeah, the president...
Basically got abducted.
They say got abducted because when he came back, shit fucking changed after that. And the conspiracy is that some aliens met privately with him, took him up. And this is the same time that photo was captured. And look this shit up right now. The photo was captured of fucking Adolf Hitler shaking hands with a fucking little bug-eyed fucking alien, dude. I mean, it looks real as fuck. And that's also what is real and what is not a conspiracy is Hitler's UFO. Hitler built a fucking UFO. That's what he was trying to do, was build something that could defy the laws of gravity as we know it. That could move unlike something that we know. That could cut a 90-degree turn at traveling hundreds of miles an hour without your brains flying out of your fucking skull. You know what I mean? That was the goal during World War II, advancing this technology, which then led to the space race. You know what I mean? It led to the space race eventually after World War II fucking ended. But then our fighters, the United States fighters, these fucking glowing orbs that would fly and maneuver in ways that we didn't have technology that could, they nicknamed them Foo Fighters. And when they nicknamed them of course, yeah, right? So that's what Foo Fighters is named after. They nicknamed them the Foo Fighters, and they thought it was Hitler's UFOs.
Oh, Jesus.
To this day, it has still never been confirmed or admitted by either fucking countries who it was. The Russians thought it was us. They thought it was the United States because they saw Foo Fighters too. The Germans never commented on it. Was it Hitler's fucking UFOs? And this was spotted in the Pacific.
Because Hitler was trying to make UFOs.
He was
trying to use, what was it, Tesla's ringing bell? He made these strange UFOs.
After J.P. Morgan fucking funded that shit.
So, to point out, though, this is just funny. After Dwight Eisenhower, president was John F. Kennedy.
Okay, that's why I was drawing a blank, because I knew it wasn't Kennedy, obviously. I knew it wasn't Kennedy. That was after Eisenhower, so that's why I was like,
No, he was the president.
I knew it wasn't Kennedy that got abducted and went missing for 7
Eisenhower
days. That's why I was
the
like,
one that you're saying got abducted.
I think so, man. This is something that I looked into a long time ago, and my memory isn't fresh with it.
No,
but
that's
now
totally okay.
my curiosity is
later.
spiked. Yeah, look it up, and I'll look it up too, and let me know what you find.
Well, it shows, dude. Especially that whole.
Certain things stick
we
in
can
the
talk
brain
about it
and
next
certain
time.
things
But
don't.
dude, the John F. Kennedy assassination, what a fucking crock of shit.
Yeah,
honestly.
We can end on this, but
yeah.
my last thing is the take of John F. Kennedy. What he talked what John F. Kennedy said about about aliens.
Yeah.
This guy has come. He's
young
actually,
too.
He's
in his 30s.
He's this guy who tells this story is in the documentary Unacknowledged actually. And what he was his pilot. He was JFK's pilot in his Learjet.
Yeah. Private Learjet.
Yeah, private Learjet. And he was his pilot. And he said one morning he put his fucking paper down and his coffee and his fucking orange juice down, and the president came in and he said, is there anything you need, Mr. President? He's like, no. And then he looked at the article of the paper, and it said something about fucking E.T., something about aliens. And JFK looked at it, and he smiled, and he looked right back at the pilot, and he just put this big smile, and he goes, what do you think? And he said, I don't know, sir. What do you think? He goes, I asked you first. And he says, well, I don't think that we could be God's only creation. And JFK looks out the window, and he says, you're absolutely right, young man. And he says something else about, we're going to do something about that. He was fucking killed 7 days later.
Dude.
Fucking bizarre, man.
God damn you, John F. Kennedy.
Fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Anyways, I love this shit. Austin, I love talking about it.
We're going to talk about this next time. We're going to talk about the Kennedy curse and all of this shit next podcast.
Fuck yeah, all of it, man. Let's talk about it. I'm pumped. I'm excited. CNN brought this shit up. Why do they want to bring it up now? Out of nowhere? I don't know. Why did they show earlier this year?
Trying to confuse you, separate facts from reality. I don't know. Think for yourself. Yeah.
But that's why we're here. We're here to have a beer, have a good time, laugh, talk about it, educate ourselves, and educate you. And we are the Pack X Podcast. We're with you. You're with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. This is episode 26, 27.
27. Download it, share it, like it, comment, talk about it, do it, because we're going to do it, and we'd like to hear about it.
You heard it. Check us out. Instagram at PackXPod, Facebook at PackXPodcast. We'll see you next week.